Greetings, comrades, and welcome to the Rad Gaming Podcast. I'm Pescador.
And I'm Jemshi. And in this episode of the podcast, we interview Twittles, a streamer who has found her niche in the horror games and spooky genre. We discuss the strategy and mindset necessary to maintain a healthy community in your viewer base, how to find help from more experienced streamers and join their streamer communities, and then we get a little off topic and talk about some of our least favorite foods, amongst other things.
In this episode of the Rad Gaming Podcast, it's sponsored by Cento Fiore. Cento Fiore is a lifestyle fashion brand that sees beauty in cultural heritage and always strives to offer timeless and elegant styles. Visit cento-fiore.com to join the family. That's CENTO-FIORI.com. So gather around the campfire because we're about to be told a spooky story by Twittles. I just want to start by saying thank you for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, by all means. But walk us through your background. What did you do before streaming?
I did a little bit of everything, honestly. I was a bank teller. I worked in a factory. I've done grocery store work. I've been a florist.
A florist? That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of everything.
What kind of factory work did you do?
I actually was on an assembly line, and I put together boards, like what do you want to call those? Like computer boards for like Gibson.
Oh, kind of like circuit boards or something.
Yeah,
like that.
and I also soldered, and I did a little bit of this and that while I was there.
Is that where you kind of picked up your love for gaming, or did this come beforehand, or what?
No. Honestly, like, I really wasn't allowed to game when I lived at home. I could play like Mario, and I actually tricked my mom into allowing me to play Kingdom Hearts because it had Mickey Mouse on it. So I would go to friends' house and play games with them or watch them play games instead. And then when I met my husband, he's a huge like World of Warcraft like player, and so he got me into building my own PC and playing World of Warcraft with him. And so then it just kind of went from there.
So did you said I guess your parents were a little strict with video games? Is that kind of what it was then?
They were strict with everything. No anime. No.
Oh man.
Like no anything really. I couldn't even like decorate my room. I was only allowed one poster. It had to be one that they agreed upon. And if I wanted to add another poster, then I'd have to take that one down and throw it away.
Oh wow. So
yeah.
Once you got out on your own, was it kind of like you're like, oh man, anime here, video games here, you like just start grabbing anything you possibly could that you couldn't do before?
I actually met my husband at an anime convention.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
While you were out being a rebel to your parents.
Well, actually, I was still living at home. I was 17, and I told her that parents were going to be there. There were no parents. And that it was a Renaissance festival, because she was fine with that. And it was not. It was an anime convention. There were no parents, and I met him there.
Did they actually know that he was there?
They know now.
Oh, okay. And they're okay with that? Or they're like, whoa, you got me.
I mean, what are they going to do about it?
That's
I'm
true.
28.
That's
they can't
true.
do it. Oh, I'm 29 now. What's my age? Hey.
I do that all the time. Once you get past 25, I swear it all blurs together. So
yeah.
It's sad. But do they know now that you're on Twitch?
They do.
And how do they feel about that?
My mom thinks that I am a cam girl.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I have to tell her, I'm like, Mom, I don't have to do anything like that. I just play games. And she's like, well, why would people want to watch that? I'm like, I don't. They do, though. They just do. She's like, well, as long as you don't have to get naked, I guess it's fine. I'm like, yeah, I don't. I don't have to do anything.
That's the best part, is you just get to be yourself.
Yeah. I mean, she doesn't watch. She doesn't even know how to sign on to Google. So I don't think she'd ever see it.
Wow. So growing up, did you have like a computer or anything to
I
access the
did.
internet, watch YouTube or anything?
So up until I was in high school, the PC was in the living room. So there was no
late night chat roulette
being sneaky.
game.
No. No. And then when I got into high school, that's when I was being bad and doing stupid shit. But
Going over to your friend's house to watch YouTube?
I was. And Newgrounds.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
E-Bombs World.
Whatever happened to them? They still there? Like they still a thing?
Still around.
I know they were huge back. I remember what was that guy, that Ding Fries Are Done guy? I used to watch that on repeat. My goodness gracious, I love that website.
Oh man, I mean, and I miss animation like that. You don't really see it as much anymore because I guess YouTube was just like, no, like you don't really see it.
No, it's a shame.
Yeah, it seems like they always say the algorithms kind of push those videos out, like they're harder to. But
it actually did for gaming as well. I've heard that like now it's vlogs. Like you have to do vlogs or short 20-minute videos. And so a lot of my favorite YouTubers are now just doing like the barest of minimums kind of, because that's what the algorithm supports. And I'm like, well, now I don't like what you're doing anymore. So
what YouTubers did you watch?
Oh man.
Or still watch her?
I watch Game Grumps. They were actually one of the reasons why I started content creation in the first place. And I used to watch Markiplier a lot. I used to watch Sniper Wolf a little bit. I used to watch back in the before times PewDiePie a little bit as well. Like now I would not be caught dead, but
do you know what era? Because I know he's gone through so many different stages, like his up and coming.
Yeah,
kind of when he wasn't number one, kind of like he was on the rise.
He was on the rise, yeah. Like I feel like there becomes a point where it wasn't what I used to enjoy anymore, and I just kind of like deviated. And I kind of have with Markiplier as well. And the only people that I continuously watch now is still Game Grumps. Like, oh my god, did my computer?
I think they always try to, do stuff like they try to spice it up and try to. I know they got the 10-minute power hour and all kind of different videos to just kind of create different content. Because I know a lot of gamers kind of just like on YouTube, they that's always gameplay, and after a while you're kind of like, I feel like I've seen most of it, but I like that they always try to spice it up. And then how Danny's got his own, band and everything, or I don't know if they call it a band or a music group or whatever they call it, but
I guess it would be a band because there's instruments, but
I always never know because I
don't either.
So you started streaming. What got you on Twitch? Like, what made you decide, hey, I want to try this?
So I actually have severe chronic illness and I can't work. I got sort of like laid off multiple times, and every time it was because I was too sick, and they just didn't really.
I guess that explains the jobs that you've had.
Yeah. So I've just been I've been a little bit everywhere. So they kind of laid me off the last time, and I was very, very sick to the point I really couldn't get out of bed, and I was watching just like because I couldn't get out of bed and I was so sick. I was just watching YouTube over and over, and at the time, Game Grumps was doing Mario Maker, and I was so depressed and upset because I'm like feeling defeated, like I'll never be able to work. My husband at the time wasn't making a lot of money. He was making like $9 an hour, and I'm like, what are we gonna do? How am I gonna live? Like, I'm just so depressed. And they just kind of like made me not depressed anymore. And I was laughing and it made me get out of bed. And I was like, I wonder, if doing that myself will help other people and also myself in the process by getting me to have something to do. And at the time, this was like way before the affiliate like even existed. There was no making money. Like it was not a thing. And so I was just like, yay, I have a reason to get out of bed now, So I started streaming in 2015. And I've been doing it since.
So what did you do when you first started out? Would you just kind of turn on the webcam and just start streaming?
Yeah, I didn't do any research. I knew absolutely nothing about Twitch. I had a PS3i. And I had a $20 headset from Amazon. And
that's the starting kit right there.
Yeah, and I I just turned it on and was playing Life is Strange, and that first day, like, I had people in chat, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. And, you know, just been doing it ever since then.
Has the people that actually hopped in your stream from the very beginning, some of them still there?
Some of them are, yeah. One of them, he has been there since the very beginning. And then a few, because I've had to change, like, the content that I'm putting out. I've changed a lot as a person and the type of games that I play, and like my schedule. So a lot of them I've lost along the way, but they still talk to me here and there, even though they can't watch.
So you're watching a lot of YouTube, but how did you get into Twitch then? Like, how did you discover Twitch? Because it seems like, okay, if you were watching Markiplier, PewDiePie, and, you know, Game Grumps, like, you don't really hear Twitch come up that often, so I'm kind of wondering how that came across your radar.
Someone that I was friends with was like, oh, yeah, there's this guy, and I think it was, like, Dr. Disrespect, and they were like, this guy, you should watch this guy, and I'm like, all right. And I realized that it was live, and I was like, oh, well, then, you know, I don't know how to edit. I don't have an editing software. This is great. I don't have to learn anything. I can just turn my computer on. And so that's how it ended up.
Yeah, because I was thinking that if you were watching a bunch of YouTube, I know me especially, when I was growing up watching YouTube, I wanted to be a YouTuber. So, like, editing videos was always, like, that was on the mind. I wouldn't have thought that, like, that's the thing. Like, editing videos does take time and it's difficult, so...
I tried a little bit to do some YouTube stuff. Editing is really hard. It's really hard. I'm trying to, like, self-teach, you know, and it's a learning curve, a giant learning curve to, like, teach yourself to edit.
Right. You got to find, like, the right tutorials online, because I think for me, it's like you always get on there and you're like, I want to edit, and you're like, how to edit, and then you've got, like, a ton of things pop up on YouTube. Everyone's trying to...
And then, like, whatever and then whatever you need for that specific thing that you want to do, that's a completely other video. So you're like, oh, let me pause this video, Google how to do this thing, go to that video.
I'll always do some kind of, like, keyboard shortcut or something, and you're like, wait, what happened here? And suddenly that, like, 20-minute video is, like, useless to you because you're like, I don't know how they did this. And you're like, oh, they had this plugin.
Those 20-minute videos take me, like, an hour because, like, I'll be like, wait, pause. What do they do again? And go back. And then, like, they'll, like, do this. And I'm like, wait, hold on. And I have to, like, pause each step. And, editing was a huge problem for me to begin with. But you said that you started creating or using or streaming different games. What games were you streaming?
At first I was doing a lot of shooters. I've tried a little bit of everything there for a couple years before I branded as a horror streamer, because I would always, like, play horror games. So I did Life is Strange, I played Amnesia, did Layers of Fear.
So that was the era of PewDiePie that you probably caught.
Yes, it was.
Okay, that makes sense.
I adore horror games so much, but because I thought that I had to do, like, shooters, I was like, oh, like, nobody's going to care about Amnesia. It's like a 20-year-old game. So I would always go back to, like, Rainbow Six or things like that. And as time went on, I realized, like, nobody cares if you're playing the game anymore. It's not about, like, if you're playing the game well. It's about whether or not you can carry on a conversation and keep them engaged while you're playing, which is a whole nother, like, beast in itself. I still struggle. Like, that's the toughest part.
See, your cat was rolling in. Sorry, I got distracted for a second.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Well, so I have the litter box in here. So, like, he has to come in and, you know.
So you have a cat. What's your cat's name?
I have two cats. This one, his name is Baku. He was named after an anime character. My husband named him. And then I have my other cat. She's 8, and her name is Biddy.
So you weren't kidding when you said you're, like, trying to grasp at straws and get every piece of anime. What's your favorite anime you've come across?
Man. People ask me that all the time, and I'm like, it's such a hard question.
Well, just give a list of them then? Doesn't have to be in any
I would say
order.
like the one thing that always has stuck with me wasn't even like an anime like series. It was actually a movie, and it was My Neighbor Totoro, and that's like
Oh yeah.
my absolute favorite thing. My grandpa actually bought me the VHS tape for that, and I wore it completely out. So I also want to eventually get like a tattoo and everything of them. So it's like that's the one I feel like for me, even though it's not a series.
Is that going to be
Right,
like a goal of yours, though? Like, after so many X amount of people or followers or something like that, get a nice tattoo?
I have 2 tattoos already. I'm going to do it regardless.
Oh, okay.
No, it's going to happen anyway. It's just a matter of when, I guess.
So do you do any IRL streams? Have you kind of dabbled in that at all? Because that's something you could probably do is have your tattoo kind of sit there with people and have them watch it in action.
It's a thing that is difficult. Like, I've been told that I'm better at talking and having conversations more so than I am the gaming part. And usually I do like a warm-up session in the beginning of a stream where for about 30 minutes to an hour I like have a discussion, and I can see as I start changing to the game it just goes wow. And so I've been like thinking of like doing IRL, but I can't stop gaming because that's where my heart is, really. So it's kind of like trying to find that balance. I definitely want to do more of them, but I kind of like after a certain amount of time, I'm like, well, now I don't have any more ideas other than just sitting here in front of my computer.
Do you like cooking? I mean, you could do cooking. I heard quite a few people doing that.
I have tried a cooking one. I made a cake.
And how did it turn out?
Yeah.
It was good. The cake was great. It was ugly, but it tasted good.
So you say it was good.
I mean, it just looked gross because I don't. The icing just kind of like melted because I was trying to do it within the stream, like have it like
Makes sense.
bake and put the icing on.
Oh,
and
right.
So
yeah.
the cake never like got cold enough, and it just it just like slid off. But it tasted great, so I guess that's all that matters.
Yeah, I guess that's something you can do for next time. You know, now that you're like, okay, I'll have it cool, and then you could probably maybe do something in between, or.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People wanted me to do an IRL stream while I'm in Japan next month, and the only reason I'm not going to is because I'm a loud person, and I just feel like that's kind of rude to be out in public. And
You don't want to be another Logan Paul who's just
Yeah, I
obnoxious.
don't. I don't. Not at all. So I was just like, well, I might just make some stuff for YouTube and then put it up instead.
So you're going to Japan. What are you going to Japan for? Just pleasure? Just going to just check out what part of Japan?
Tokyo. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And we've been planning it for years, and it just kind of turned out that this year my husband got a good job and we saved a lot of money and we could go. So it's gonna suck taking 10 days off of stream, but I don't care at this point. Like, I'm gonna go and have a good time. And
But like
Yeah,
you said, it
for
gives you
sure.
you need ideas that, if you want to talk with, you can now have like 10 days worth of things that happen that you can talk about. And
like they're gonna be tired of hearing about it, I'm sure.
You need to take some pictures of. They have crazy like machines that dispense different things, and I was told about this from my one friend that went over to Japan, and he said like everything you possibly think of. They have like a what is it called?
like a vending machine.
A vending machine. Thank you. I couldn't think of
yeah.
it. They have like every like crazy thing you could possibly think of, and I wanted to see that. So if you could take a picture and send it my way, please. I just want to know, because I want to know if he's being like legit honest about this.
No,
thing.
I've seen
do.
pictures. Yeah,
They-
like they have like those malls almost, kind of like it's just like that's all it's there is they just have vending machines of everything.
He was just like saying the weirdest of things, like different foods, like not just candy and things like that. But they had like toys and other weird things that I don't want to talk about. But I mean, they had some crazy contraptions.
They actually have like vending machines that have a can in it that have soup, and it's hot when you
What?
get it out. Yeah.
Where's our hot soup? Like,
Yeah, I
vending
know.
machine?
Like, why
Come
don't
on.
we get anything good? We just get Coke and Pepsi, and that's it.
We get crap.
Yeah.
Man, it makes me sad. But what are you gonna do when you go over there? Do you have anything planned out?
I have to plan things. I have very bad anxiety, so I'm already like putting everything, like where we're going, what day we're gonna go do it, how far it takes, what train we need to ride. Like,
that's a good thing, though.
I'm going down and making the plan. So, but my husband's very spontaneous, so he's like, "Why are you doing this? We're probably not gonna do it like this." And I'm like, just let me do this so that when we get there, I'm not like, I gotta Google, like, we need to find so and so, and I can't get there.
Right, you kind of want to make the most of your time because you're only there for 10 days. There's so much that you could do that maybe you could just sit at. You're like, oh, we're just sitting here not doing anything, and
so I'm like, I'm gonna have it all planned out, and we're gonna go to the ramen museum, which is a giant museum, and you have like a million stalls that have ramen in it, and you can get like a sample size and just try all the different types. So.
What other types of ramen? I haven't even seen this. Like, what other types of ramen are there?
Oh, there's a bunch. There's like some that don't have liquid in them, and they're like just oil and noodles. Then they have like ramen that's made with beef, like fish.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I should have been more specific.
Like,
I mean, just the basic ones that we traditionally eat. I'm just saying, like
they have like all kinds of spices. Like for them, like ramen is like, I don't know. I guess
staple of their food over there. Is that what you're trying to tell me, Jemshi?
I guess like they have ramen and then they just put whatever else they want to eat in the ramen, and then
that's awesome.
Some people find some good ones. You know, there's good combinations. And
if you find one,
sure
please
you're
let me
gonna
know.
come back and be like, wow, there's some weird ones I ate there, but
they also put cheese in them and all sorts of things.
So on the topic of food and eating weird things, what's the weirdest thing you eat on a normal basis? Like for example, my uncle, he actually puts, and not even kidding when he says he puts ketchup in between two pieces of bread and then eats it. Yeah, so
well, I guess you got to think that if you were eating that, would you think that was weird? Because you're like, this isn't weird because I'm eating.
Well, I mean, what would someone else deem weird, I guess you could say, is the question. So,
well, because my chronic illness is stomach related, I have to be a little like gentle.
Yeah.
But I guess back when I used to be really, really like poor and didn't have money, I would put mayonnaise on bread and eat that.
I said that's too weird. I mean, I could see that.
That's like the weirdest thing I can think of, other than like I drink a lot of like old people drinks, like Ensure and stuff, and they're not good, but I have to drink them.
Well, I think the mayonnaise sandwich, it only depends on how much mayonnaise you put. Like if you're emptying the jar out on a single sandwich,
that's true.
Like enough to make the bread like a little moist, I guess.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. So it's not like just your dry bread.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it needs to be the mayonnaise to bun ratio. I can't just be like straight mayonnaise or just all bun.
If I have a little, I would put banana on there with the mayonnaise.
Banana and mayonnaise. That's just interesting. I honestly don't like bananas. It's a southern thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
Wait, you don't like bananas?
No, I don't. Is that weird?
Whoa.
Is it because textures? Like
no, just the taste. I don't like the taste. I mean, a while back I did a run, and the only time I've ever eaten an actual full banana was I was starving, and I don't know if you've ever heard the Tough Mudder. I was doing the Tough Mudder, and they hand out like half bananas, and I was so hungry because it was such a long thing that I actually ate a banana, and I hated myself after I ate the banana. I can't do banana. I don't like bananas. I don't know.
Huh.
I think they're going to fix that, man.
Man, I don't know. I had an acai bowl the other 2 weeks ago, and they have bananas, and I just stupid banana, just tossing the bananas out. I don't do bananas, man.
I mean, I'm like that with Jell-O. I don't want anything that has a weird texture. Yeah, like applesauce, Jell-O. Anything like that.
You're going to be surprised when you go to Japan. I know they got some. I guess as long as you're prepared for it. I know that some people go over there and it's like, you don't want to just go over there and get some chicken nuggets every day or something.
Maybe she does. Don't judge.
I love chicken nuggets.
I mean, I would like to try at least something. Like the ramen museum. Yeah. Like if you're going to go there, make sure you try at least some that you're like, oh man.
Coming from the guy that eats chicken literally every single day of his life.
Yeah. Or, I mean, I'm okay with sushi and stuff like that, so it's fine. The only thing I feel like is I've tried some candies. Somebody mailed me for my birthday some Japanese candies, and some of them are really gross. Like
Mochi?
One of them was like this little. It was like a piece of like jerky looking thing, but it tasted like squid.
Ooh.
And that was not good. It was like eating
terrible.
fish food.
So now I think this is a good idea for your next IRL stream, where you're in Japan. You're like, we bought a bunch of snacks.
Yes,
and
there
try
it is.
them on stream and see how your reactions
That'll just
are.
be me like having to spit stuff out. I feel like
Yeah, you'll just have to have a little bucket next to you. Just be like,
Yeah.
all right, let's see how much we can fill this bucket up. It's
because
like,
I've done the Bean Boozled things, and
Oh,
I have a
the
fear of
earwax
like
one? Oh.
throwing up too. So when I would taste it and I'd like gag, I would like freak out because I'm like, oh, is this the end? Is this where I break TOS? And I had to just take a bite of them and then spit them out immediately so that I wouldn't keep gagging, because I was like, oh god, I don't want to get banned.
The vomit flavor gets me. Like, I don't vomit, but like, it gets really close because like you taste it in your mouth, so it's almost like you've already thrown up, and you're just like, your body's just like, let's just keep going, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, and the dog food. Dog food was really bad too. At least the mint one kind of helps break it up a little.
Have you ever eaten real dog food?
No.
please tell me you have. Is this what
I
this is
think
getting
the
at?
only thing-
I'm kind of curious. I mean, I was curious. Like, you're just
The
like,
only
okay,
thing
what is
I've
my dog
actually-
eating? You know?
The only thing I've actually done is we had a cat who could not eat certain like red dyes, so we bought her duck and pea like cat food, and my stepdad was like, she's not eating it. I wonder what it tastes like. It has to taste bad if she's not eating it. And he was like, here, you take one and I'll take one. And it does not taste good. But that, not dog food, like the wet dog food.
Ooh.
More like it was dry.
Yeah, I haven't had the wet dog food. I think the dry, like, that'd be the one where I'd be afraid because, like, I know dogs have, like, the weirdest taste compared to humans. So, like, I'd be afraid that, like, I have no idea what I'm getting into when I eat those. Like, human food, like, I go to Japan or something, like, okay, well, there's other people who've eaten this. Like, it must be okay. But, like, it's not like there's, like, the dog is, like, no one eating dog food. Like, at least I don't think so.
I mean, I know.
Yeah, right?
I mean, I don't know. It's cheaper than human food. There might be people out there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I've tried that, and I know people who've tried, like, dog treats, like they're like the little, like, different colored bones. I forget what they're called. But they're like
milk bones.
Milk bones, yeah. I know people who've done that, and they're like, oh, it just tastes like cardboard.
Huh. Maybe I'm the weird one because I haven't had any kind of pet food before. Maybe that makes me strange.
Has it ever crossed your mind, though? Like, I'm just curious if you've ever
Of course it has. I mean, see people like looking at it and be like, but I'm like not tempted. I used to be extremely picky eater, and this is a true story. I went to Wendy's before, and they used to have the round patties, and then they switched to square, and I wouldn't eat it because it was square. Like I just refused to eat it.
What?
I'm not.
Now?
No. I eat everything now. Like I am, except for bananas and pickles. I hate those two things.
You hate pickles?
Yeah.
What?
I'm not even kidding. My sister offered me and my friend and I hated pickles. She offered us $20 each. And at the time, like, I was young and I had no money. And my friend was like, dude, let's do it. And he, like, perped and popped the pickle in his mouth. And I just sat there and stared at this pickle for, like, 20 minutes. I'm like, nope, won't do it. And just walked away from it. And I made him eat a pickle for no reason. He wasn't too happy, but... Yeah, I don't do pickles.
I'm kind of sad. I'm sad about that now.
Why? You like pickles?
I love pickles. I like pickled okra. I like pickled peppers. I like pickles. Like, how you not like pickled things?
I don't know. I mean, see, like, there's pickled things. So would what, like those little peppers? Peppers are pickled technically, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, I eat those. I just don't like pickles. Like,
so is it just like cucumbered?
Yes.
Pickle?
Yes.
Do you eat raw cucumber or no?
I will if it's in a salad, but I won't eat raw. Like, I won't be like, yeah, cucumber, and just like take a giant bite out of it and just go with my day, you know? But no.
Yeah, I can't eat like raw pickles, but if they're like on something, like maybe like mixed in a burger, I can.
I can just buy a jar right out of the jar. I just like, I guess I just like vinegar and like.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I know they've got like flavored chips that are like that, like the pickled. I can't remember. There's like so many different weird flavored chips. I know with there's Pringles. They had ketchup flavored Pringles.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
And I remember like I had to get it because I was like, there's gonna be one day because I was like, I missed it the first time that I saw it, and I was like, man, I've been thinking about it ever since. I have to get these again and try them. I mean, they were terrible, but like, and like I was just wondering I was like, how do they make ketchup flavored Pringles? Like, is that even good? And I never saw them again, so they must have sold out and were like, no one's
I know
buying
that
these.
they have a lot of ketchup flavored stuff in Canada. Like that's a thing.
Oh yeah,
That's
they
on
do.
market.
They call they have some kind of weird. It's not like French fries they get at fast food joints. They get something else.
Poutine.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. It's good, by the way.
Really? I never tried it.
Yeah.
I have to
Was
try
it
it.
poutine? I've never heard of this.
It's just fries and then cheese curds
That's it. Yes.
and gravy.
Yes. It's
Oh,
kind
the
of.
it's
gravy part is where I was like, "What?"
Fantastic. It's
never-
like brown
It's good
gravy.
though.
Yeah, it's great.
I think I need to go to Canada now.
Yeah, you got to try it. It's good.
I kind of got us derailed. I'm really sorry, but I'm gonna kind of bring us back on track
Yeah.
by saying, so you started streaming. You got a few viewers doing Life is Strange. What obstacles did you hit from that point to where you are now?
I mean, I still have obstacles. They just haven't disappeared, you know. I guess with my health, it goes up and down. So finding a balance between my energy level and keeping it consistent, because my energy does kind of fluctuate every day. And yeah, they know now, like, when I first started, I wouldn't tell anyone that I was sick. I was just like, no, I don't want them to pity me. I don't want them to feel bad that I have whatever. And, but like, I have to keep that consistent. I also have to make sure that I only stream a certain amount of time per week. How I stream 3 hours a day. Like, I've noticed once I start hitting that 3 hour mark, like close to the 3 hours, I can tell, you know, by now, like, chat interaction is dying. And I think it's because I'm dying and I'm like, I need to go lay down. And there for a long time, I wasn't consistent. I didn't have a schedule. Like I said, I didn't do any research. So because I didn't know what I was doing and just like dive in head first, I didn't have a schedule. I would just do it when I felt like. I didn't have a Discord. I didn't have a Twitter. I didn't use Facebook. I didn't do anything that you need to be doing. So I think it was until like this year, well, part of last year and this year was when I really was like, I'm doing everything wrong. Why? And you need to change and do this and have a schedule and use social media. And actually, you know, this is why you're not growing. This is why you're staying where you are. And
So
thankfully-
what got you on that mindset? Like what got that shift? Because that doesn't just like happen one day. You wake up and you're like, time to do some social media. Like,
so here's a little bit of a Twitch horror story. I was just minding my business on Twitch, streaming Rainbow Six Siege, and I got someone who came into my chat and they messaged me and they were like, "Oh, I can help you be a good streamer." And I was like, "Can you? Like, is that a thing?" And they were like, "Yeah." And so they helped me set my mic up. They helped me fix my like lighting. They helped me fix my settings because I was potatoing everything. And they had us in a group with like other streamers who some of them are doing really, really well now. But he was a creep. He was not a good guy, and he would put me down almost daily to the point I was like having constant panic attacks because he would be like, "Oh, if you don't do this, this, and this, I'm going to kick you out." And as someone who's like, "Oh man, I can get partner, I can do this, you're going to give me this," like, you know, and I wanted to make this a job. I had decided based on like,
the growth that you were getting.
yeah, I was getting it while I was part of that. And for him to constantly like dangle that carrot, I was pretty much having a breakdown. And I ended up having to take a hiatus from Twitch from, I guess it was like 3 months, because I could not get in front of the computer. I would straight up have a panic attack because I'm like, he's watching, he's going to tell me everything I've done wrong. He's going to berate me later. And then it got to be where it was even creepier because while I was during that hiatus, he was like, I want you to like follow this schedule for your life. And I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. But then he was like, I want you to work out with me on voice for an hour a day. And he would message me all hours of the day and try to talk to me. And if I wouldn't answer him, he'd be like, I'm going to kill myself. I'm very empathetic, and I was like rushing to his side every time. And there was other people in that group that he also manipulated it, but it was different with every person. And I would tell my husband, I was like, I don't know what to do about this guy. Like, I want to make this a job, but I can't handle this. And my husband's like, dude, you just need to like kick him to the curb. Like, fuck this guy. And I kept hanging on because there was a person who is doing very well now, who is partnered, who is still consistently growing. And I didn't want to give that up because I was seeing growth and I saw progress. And with the way that he was just so volatile, I finally, especially with the constant like messaging me and telling me to like talk to him and just constant like berating of me as a person.
Right, kind of like he's like, you owe me kind of thing.
I finally was like, look, I'm not doing this anymore. And he's like, well, I'm going to kick you out. And I'm like, all right, goodbye. Like, I can't handle this. Like, you're making me not like Twitch anymore. You're making me not like streaming. And that's not what I want. Like, I want to continue to love this. And I got messages from the people in the group. They were like, where'd you go? Why'd you leave? And I was like, oh, he kicked me out. And I told them what happened. And a lot of them did leave. But some of them stayed because they want this as a dream. And I can't like fault them for that. I can't like be mad at them for that. But like I said, like, because somebody right now who is still working with this person is doing so well, it was really hard for me to give up, even though I knew that was really bad for me. And I guess that's why sometimes people are really hesitant about the like stream coach thing. 'Cause they're like, you know, and he was free. Like, it wasn't because I was paying this dude. Like, he actually helped us financially sometimes. And, like, we didn't know who he was, but so many of us put our trust into some random person on the internet. And it was just kind of like one of those situations where you have to decide, hey, do I want to keep streaming or do I want to hate streaming? And because it's something that I love doing so much, I just finally was like, I'm going to take everything you've given me up until this point. I'm just going to YOLO by myself. And that's what I've been doing.
You've been doing a fantastic job of actually standing up for yourself. I did see in your on Twitter, actually, the one message you had for some of your viewers. Do you want to kind of walk us through what happened and what you said?
Yeah. So a couple, like I said, during that time when I was with that guy who was supposed to be helping me, I was actually very, very shy. I didn't want to stand up for myself. I let my Discord control me. I let my chat do whatever they wanted because I was like, oh, I got to keep these viewers. Like, if they leave, what am I going to do? Yeah. And it just got to be where I didn't care. Like, if you're going to act out, I don't need you here because I want something that I'm proud of. And I can't be proud of I can't be proud of me if I let you guys act that way, you know?
Yeah.
And so what happened was one of my regulars, he is very nice to me and would like sometimes press boundaries. But whenever I was like, look, no, or you're going to get timed out, he would chill. And we had like this understanding that he is not allowed to act a certain way. Well, I hosted a friend of mine who is in the team that I am a mod of. We're both on TBD with Gamo and everything, and I'm a moderator there. I hosted him, and he went in, and the guy was not at his computer. He walked away to go get like some water, and he just kept acting out like, oh, we just need to just like host somebody else, blah blah blah. And then when my friend came on, he like was making fun of the way he looked, was saying a lot of like really horrible things, and I was like right there in chat like watching it happen, and I had to be like telling the person who I hosted, I was like, ban this guy, like ban him, do not let him do that. And because I think the person I hosted was assuming that I was joking or whatever, they were like, no, I can handle it. And I'm like, no, like you need to ban them. And I had to sit there and watch it just the whole time, just being awful. And I marinated on it.
You know,
I was very upset. Yeah, because that's my friend. Like, even if it wasn't someone I knew personally and it was just some random person, like that makes me look bad. It makes me look like I don't have control over the community that I foster.
Yeah, even if they don't have your name, they're representing you. They came from your,
I mean, I'm not saying I needed their mom. Like, I can't control them forever. And I can't, like, make them do whatever all the time. But if you're going to be in my chat, you aren't going to do that. And, like, he doesn't have to ban them in his chat if he wants to handle that himself. Go for it. But he was not going to do it in mine ever again. And so I did message them. I, like, marinated on it, like, a whole night. And that day, my computer didn't want to start, and I was already salty because like my computer's been acting up
on the warpath already. You're like, stupid computer.
So originally I had no plans to really like make that big of a deal out of it. I was just going to message that guy privately, which I did do. But then I was already kind of like, nah, I'm just going to go ahead. So at the beginning of the stream, when I normally have my like talk, I told everybody in chat, I was like, look, we're not going to do this ever again. And I clipped it and I put it on Twitter because I was like, oh, I have people who follow me on Twitter that I know who are also part of my community. And I put it in my Discord, and I wasn't thinking, I guess, that it would blow up as it did because I've never had that much like eyes on me. And it was a different experience to have. I mean, I guess it went viral because it had 82,000 views on it. And other content creators have used my video, and
yeah, well, it was received positively, so that's a good thing,
I did have some trolls. Like they were there. Really? They were like, "Oh yeah, this SJW. Like, how dare she try to control us? Like, this is what's wrong with women." And
wow,
I'm just kind of like, I don't want everyone to agree with me. That's not what I want. Because everybody's allowed to have their opinion about how Twitch should be. And I don't want to be like in a vacuum. I don't want everybody who follows me to constantly like kiss my ass. I don't want that. I'm fine with having difference of opinions. So there were a few of the trolls that I did like message, and I was like, hey, yeah, I understand you don't agree. That's fine. Like, I understand where you're coming from. Like, yeah, I can't be their mom. Like, yeah, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a leader. I'm not all these like words that people have been calling me, but it is my community and this is what I want. And, some of them were like, cool. And they were like, yeah, we can agree to disagree. And then there were some that were just too trolly, and I didn't even bother to like spend time responding. But I just kind of feel like it's necessary. And I didn't realize how big of a problem it was on Twitch either, because a lot of people that I like really looked up to responded and were like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is a problem I dealt with. And
I guess a lot of people just aren't speaking out about it.
I mean, I feel like they are, but maybe not at the level that I did, because they don't usually like make a stupid video of them being a mom. And so now, like, in TBD, I got a bunch of people calling me mom, and I'm just like, please don't. So
I guess it's easier to share someone else's message than to put your own out there, because then, like they're the ones who are taking the risk as opposed to just like, oh, I'll just share, yours.
Yeah.
That's what seemed to happen, is everyone was sharing it. That's how things go viral.
It went way beyond like what I thought. Like I thought maybe, the people who actually followed me would see it and that would be the end of it. And that's all
that's who it was meant for too, right?
Yeah. And that's who it was really meant for. But then people that I knew retweeted it, and then they must be following someone else. And it just went out there. And I honestly still get messages. It's been like almost a week now, and it's still getting messages about it, and I'm just like, I'm glad that people feel the same way and kind of want better of Twitch, because if we can't all enjoy it, then what's really the point,
I agree 100%. You started with your $20 headset.
I did.
Yeah. I can see right now that those aren't $20 you have on your head right now. You want to maybe walk us through some of the gear that you have now?
So I started with the PS3i, and then I moved up to the C920. And then from there, I have a Panasonic Lumix G7. And it is a $700 camera that I use. It has 4K, which is great. I didn't need this. Don't do this. If you can use the C920, keep using the C920. Don't make the mistake I did. But I just kind of wanted it, and I guess saved money, and I got it. And then I have my Yeti, which I also want to upgrade, but that's coming later. I'd love to get like a fancy pants one, but I don't have one yet.
Fancy pants one are you looking at?
Probably either the AT 2020 or a Rhodes, honestly, and then have a mixer. Because while USB mics are great, I have to put a lot of filters on this thing to make it not pick up people down the hall. And also to pick up me, because whether or not like Discord makes it sound like it or not, I'm very soft spoken. So if I don't have the mic like directly in front of my face, you can't hear anything. It just sounds like I'm like Tinkerbell back there. And I just have to, like, I have gain on the mic itself, gain on OBS. Plus I have, what is that called? Because my brain goes blank. A compressor. I also have a noise gate. Like, I have all these things to try to make it sound decent, and I can never get it perfect. So I feel like getting a big boy mic would be good. Make me sound like super professional then.
Yeah, just eliminate problems so that you don't have to deal with them.
Yeah. I mean, that's what like upgrading is all about, is to make it easier on you. And like I said, my computer was acting up, and it's still doing it. And I'm like, well, I'm going to Japan. Can't really pay the money now to go get an upgrade. So I'm like, well, we'll just deal with it when I get back, like upgrading just takes time. That's the thing that I feel like newer streamers don't get, is that I've been doing this for 4 years. I have upgraded a little bit along the way. I didn't just like buy $2,000 worth of stuff and then go, I'm a streamer, because that's not how it works. It won't
right, because you still don't get the audience,
Yeah, I mean, I thought that like getting this nice camera like would increase like eyes on me, because they're like, wow, you got a nice camera, girl. Like, let me see what kind of camera you got. And then it doesn't. It's a lie. You're like, having better anything does not make your content better. And it's not going to make people want to watch you any more than if you just had a PS3i, like, it's about who you are and what you provide.
Is there?
Yeah, I see that you also got like a background kind of a setup there. Was that something that you
Actually,
developed over time?
It was, yeah. We just moved into this house, guess in October, when I came back from the hiatus that I was talking about. And at first I was in my laundry room. And so I couldn't do laundry while I was streaming because you could hear it, because my Yeti would pick it up. And so then I had a green screen to hide the laundry that was not folded in the background. And so now I have a 3-bedroom house because my husband does work from home. So he has an office and I have an office. And so now I can decorate it. And so, like, I mean, it's a little empty back there. Like, there's not a lot in the little cubbies, but it's going to come.
What plans do you have for it?
Honestly, like, I want to get another, like, bookcase and then have them upright so that it actually, you can see what's inside the shelves. And I have an extra, like, light set and just pretty much, like, just adding stuff inside the little, like, cubes and tried to, like, match everything because purple.
Is that your, I'm guessing that's your go-to color for everything?
Yeah, it is. Like, even my overlay is purple. Everything is purple. It is my favorite.
So now I know why you like Twitch over YouTube, because it's got the purple theme.
That's exactly it. That's all it was. Yeah. And I kind of, I mean, it can change colors. I just don't. There's no reason to change colors. But I also have, like, my little...
You're like, why is there anything better than purple?
Yeah, there's not. And I have my little skull back there. I have a little raccoon skull and a little dinosaur.
I was like, that's not a human skull, is it?
I mean, I want more. I want a cat skull and a lot of other stuff, but they're expensive. Yeah, that's a little
So
weird,
you're trying to
I
go
guess.
for more of a horror...
Yeah,
like,
I mean...
kind of theme back there?
Yeah, I want to have, like, some, like, spooky things, but I kind of have, like, I have a picture, you can't tell, it's of the Eiffel Tower back there.
I'm not gonna lie, I just turned my head like an idiot to see if I could see around you, and it obviously didn't do anything.
Yeah, you can't see anything, it sucks, but I'm just like, well, we'll get there, and I'm not in a hurry. Like, I still haven't rebranded. I still have the same emotes I've had since forever, and I need to do that, and there's a lot. It's just constantly changing, and you can't just keep doing the same thing. So that's kind of where I'm at now. It's like finding where I want to fit and then going from there. And I was talking about it earlier, like the multiplayer game I play is Dead by Daylight. Well, I'm not seeing growth with Dead by Daylight. I don't see any anymore because I've played it for so long. It's just kind of the same now. But there's no other multiplayer horror games. So what do? You just... I'm not going to play...
You're going
to keep playing the game. Exactly. And I'll sprinkle in, like, I played Resident Evil 2, and I'm like, I want to play some other horror games here and there. But because they are story games, it's really difficult.
Have you tried The Forest?
Yeah, I did. And I'm so glad it finished. I'm so glad it finished because when I first started playing it was an alpha still.
Yeah, so did I.
They didn't have the story finished yet.
I remember they had an issue when I first started playing that I don't know what those giant creatures are that destroys your walls and stuff. They had so many of those spawn like constantly that I couldn't build anything. Like they just come over and just wreck everything like
especially like in the middle of the night while you're sleeping.
Worst.
Yeah.
I can't tell me how many times I've like walked with a torch and then turn around and they're like right in my face, swinging their big weird tentacle things. It's just ridiculous.
And you wouldn't think that you'd get jump scares like with that game, but they are everywhere. Like just jump scares galore. And I mean, it's hard with going like sprinkling in the other games because you have to really make those games worth it. Like, you have to make that time with a story game so worth it for those people to stay because they're there for that game. So you have to really, really make it worth their while for them to come back when you're not playing it. And it's a struggle because sometimes people just don't want to change and they want to watch only Alien Isolation every day. And that's the content that they are there for. And then, you know, so it's one of those things where it's like, I try not to obsess over it, but I do constantly like think, okay, what can I improve on? What can I like change? And you posted on your Twitter, like, stop standing in your own way. And I was like, this is me. I do this. Like, I'm really bad about this.
Everyone has an issue with it. I mean, there's multiple times that I found myself just like stuck in my ways. I'm like, I'm just going to do it this way because it's worked. And then when it stops working, I'm like, what do I do now? I mean, I'm kind of stuck. I have no idea. But it's just,
I'm very much like that.
But it's kind of nice because when you do figure out, you know, hey, this isn't working, you try something else and it might not work, yes, but you learn from that and say, okay, that didn't work, but maybe I can tweak it this way and it might work. So, I mean, it spices up your stream, spices up the day. It's kind of nice.
I mean, it's part of it and it's fun. And like when you guys talked to Gammo and he said that he turns off his view count, I didn't. I hadn't been, and it was starting to really bother me. And I like talked to him, and he was like, "Turn it off, like just turn it off." And I have, and I feel like I've enjoyed myself a lot more since I like listened to him because when you start seeing the numbers change, you start changing how you are, and people can pick up on that. Even if you're not picking up on it like subconsciously, they can.
Yeah.
And so I listen to him.
It's discouraging seeing you go from like, I don't really know your viewer count, but just say 30 to 15 to 8, then back up to 15, then back down to like 6. And you're just like, what did I do wrong? You're like over analyzing yourself. What did I do wrong? Am I playing the game weird? Did I say something? Did I do something?
And sometimes it's not even anything you did.
No.
It could just literally be those people had to go like to the bathroom and they like muted the tab or whatever. It could just be whatever, and you didn't even do anything, but you're in your own head the whole time. And so once I started listening to him and he was like, stop, just turn it off. And I did. And I feel like I've been having a lot like less anxiety about how things are going. And I don't even look at, like, I get an email now about like how your stream went with Stream Elements, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not gonna look at it because there's no point. Like I'm just gonna enjoy it now. And I really have been. I've really been enjoying myself a lot more since he pretty much was like, stop it. Because
I think that when people stop looking at the numbers, it actually becomes more enjoyable to them. It's not so much a job, it's more of a fun kind of thing. You know, you don't see it as work. So I mean, and
it's rough because a lot of people want to make it their job, so they have to look at the numbers.
Yeah.
And I get it. I do. But
just look at the numbers every now and then if you're not obsessing over it.
Or kind of like do it as a monthly thing. Like get your stats for the whole month and then be like what did what, or even weekly or something like that. But because I kind of have gotten to where I just want to enjoy it. And like, yes, I want one day to have that verified check mark there. And like, you know, do this for a job type thing. The point is if you're not having fun with it, it makes it really, really a struggle. And it kind of makes it where you don't want to do it. And that's not, like, this was something that I had to do for myself to get out of bed every day. And if I don't enjoy it, what am I going to do anymore? Like, I'm just going to, like, clean my house? Like, no.
You'll finish, and then what are you going to do? Like, that's
exactly. Like, no. I want to have...
Yeah, you don't want to be one of those crazy people where you're cleaning the things that are already clean. Because you're just like, I see, like, one little piece of dust got there, like, for instance, the last time I was here.
Yeah, so now I have to start all over, you know?
Right.
Like, no, I can't be like that. And I like games and I like talking to people. And this is pretty much because I don't work and I don't have like a social life. This is my social life. So giving that up would be just horrible, I feel like.
You play a lot of horror games. What's your favorite horror game?
Alien Isolation is my favorite horror game.
I haven't played that one yet, but it looks a lot of fun.
I love space. Okay. I love space and I love the Alien movies. And it was really, really fun. I also really loved Resident Evil. I've never played any Resident Evils except 7. And when I played 2, it was honestly the best time I've had in a long, long time.
What has the most jump scares in your opinion? Like, what scared you the most?
Probably Home Sweet Home.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Yeah, that I couldn't even finish it. I was so scared.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just was like, yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I know you wanted me to play this. I can't.
No. Don't worry. I'm not so much a baby when it comes to horror games, but when I get enough jump scares in a night, I'll be like, oh, I'm done. I'm hanging it up.
Yep.
And calling it a night.
It's over. And I also have a heart condition, so I'm like,
oh wow,
chancing it. I'm chancing it every day. I'm like, let's see how much we can go. And I was that way with Outlast. I got to where like I would have to just stop playing and take a break. And so what I would do is just pause it and just sit there and just talk for a little bit and try to like decompress a little and then start up again. I feel like Outlast took me like months to finish, even though it is a very short game, because I just needed the break.
Like 15, 20 minutes of tops, and you're just like, I got to take a break, a kid.
Yeah, I just gotta. I mean, but now I've gotten to where like, yeah, I get people want that content, but if I'm getting too upset and I'm not having fun anymore, that's when I just kind of like draw the line. And I don't want to play something that makes me too upset or too mad. Like if I'm going to flip tables and break stuff, no, we can't like play that game anymore.
Do you flip tables? Do you rage?
I have before.
Have you ever broken anything while raging?
No, I've never broken any of my equipment, but I have smashed hard enough to where people have been like, is your keyboard okay? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
That's why I got this one, because it doesn't break.
I have raged a lot, and it is a thing, but I try not to, because I'm like, that's not fun. And a lot of people, because I'm not that kind of person, when it does happen, it kind of scares people away, and they're like, I'm gonna go. And so they kind of don't want to see it either. So I understand.
I actually I have a graveyard. I used to have a graveyard of controllers, because at one point in time I was that, angry teenager, that like teenage boy that would play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and I would just sit there and play, and I was really good at the game, and when someone was better at me, I'm like, and smash the control on the ground. But I don't do that anymore, thank God. But I mean, that
I think
was
you just
me.
didn't have parents like mine, where they're like, if you break the controller, we're not buying you a new one. And then you're like, oh, I don't like this. Is like when I'm like,
no, my parents.
You're like, oh man, I can't not play this game now if I break it. So
Yeah.
my parents would they'd let me go, and then they'd be like, "What did you do?" I'm like, "Nothing. Just need a new controller is what I did," And then when I got old enough, they're like, "Well, you're gonna pay for your own stuff." I'm like, dang it. And that's what stopped me from smashing half my controllers at that point in time.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, when you have to buy it yourself, you're a little bit like, okay, no, we gotta be nice.
it's funny because you don't think about it, and you're just like, oh, it's a controller. How much could it be? And then you're like, $50 as a kid, and you're like, what? This is as much as a new game. What am I doing? I can't break any more controllers.
No, and I'm lucky that I've never broken anything, but I have really raged, and I'm lucky that there is no video evidence of it. It's gone.
It's a shame.
I don't want to see it. Yeah. I mean, I patrol my clips. Like, I make sure I find, like, funny things that happen, or if somebody clipped me, like, doing something like, oh, I one day wore pants that were shorts, and I got up and they clipped it. I'm like, no, we're deleting that. Like, it's not going to stay there. So I try to make sure everything is good. So
you want to keep a good image for yourself.
I don't want somebody to like clip me getting up and I have shorts on and they're like being gross. Like, no.
Right, because then they start making compilations. They're like, oh, we got all the videos all in one, and you're like, oh my god.
I mean, I've never had that happen. I feel bad for other girls that have had that like happen, or where they're like taken out of context and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky that I have flown under the radar on that. I mean,
well, I guess it's also your community. You got to make sure that you kind of foster the right kind of people that don't want to clip those kind of things. They clip the funny moments instead of the
bad ones. Yeah, and I mean I make a lot of adult jokes, but I've even had to tone myself down because people start to get a little too like
carried away,
out of it. Yeah,
and I'm like, this is gonna break TOS. Like, y'all need to chill. We can't do this because it's a joke, but you never know like what's gonna be taken out of context. And as a girl on the internet, people like to be like, oh my god, that girl said this, and oh, she's a girl, she's got boobs, you know, and I'm just like constantly having to.
What a revelation.
Wow!
Who would have thought?
Yeah, like, you know, I have to just make sure. And people are nice, though. I mean, the people I have now, because I did have to change a lot of things, because, like I said, I let kind of people go crazy for a little while. Now everything's like I have a really, really good community, and I have people who really like care about, you know, what we're doing. And so I'm really lucky because honestly, it took somebody that I looked up to message me and be like, I would never host or raid you because I would never want people to come in and see what you're letting them act like. And that was like way in the before times, you know, before I realized like, hey, you can't let people be like that because other people are going to think that you are like that when it's not true. And I mean, it was just me not having self-confidence at the time to be like, hey, that's not okay.
Is right, you want to take the stream in your own direction.
Is this where the whole like thing came out, and that's why you kind of said that in general, just because is that like kind of replaying in your mind?
Yeah, it really was. It really was like replaying in my head because I had been at that point where, you know, I kind of let people just run wild because I was like, you know, it doesn't matter. They're just having fun. It's just all fun and games. But it's not, because from the outside looking in, they're going to think you're toxic, or they're going to think that, you know, you just are a bad person. And it's not true because I'm not, but they don't know that, you know? And you only get, I think it was like, there was a video I watched one time ago that it was like, you only get but a couple seconds to keep someone in your stream. And I was wondering for a long time why I wasn't growing. You know, I was like, why am I stuck at 7 viewers forever? And that's why, because those 7 viewers were all acting crazy and I just didn't have the confidence to stand up for myself. So nobody wants to be around that. I mean, there are people who do. I mean, there are a bunch of really toxic Twitch people, and
right,
they
but
like
if you want
that.
to do this full time, you know, you gotta think like, I need to get to that point, and if these are the people that are going to be with me on that journey, I might, you know, that's what I'm going to be stuck with when I'm full time. And then if I want to change gears, it's
and I think it was Soda. I think it was him or one of them that's at the top. They were talking about how they wish that they had not had such a toxic community, but now that they do, like, they don't know how to fix it. It's too late because they're already big, and like they just have so much just junk like in their chat that there's nothing they can do to fix it. And I'm like, I don't want to be like that.
Because then you think like they're like, because then I'm sure that they're probably questioning themselves, like, if I change gears to a less toxic, you know, community, am I going to be as big as I am now? Like,
probably
you know,
not.
right? You know, like they gotta
because
find a
they
whole new
cater
audience.
to a specific audience.
Exactly.
And like that's just not how I want to, you know, be, because that's not me. It was just me being too afraid, and I'm not now. I'm not afraid to, like, you know, tell somebody, nah, you can't do that.
No, because you have some skulls in the back, and you're telling me you're about to add to your
I got
collection.
skulls back here.
Yeah, tell me you're gonna add to
my
it.
victims.
She's got one. She could go for
I
two.
will add to it. I actually named that skull after one of my viewers because he would always. I have like a sound alert board for bits, and he would always play this one. And I would be like having a really good, like super good discussion that was serious, and he would play it, and I would be.
It's like a non-serious song or noise.
It's actually SpongeBob, like that SpongeBob scene where he's like a few moments later. And I'm like,
man!
All right, so I named him after the skull is named after him now, because I'm like, okay, well.
The last question I'd like to ask is, what would you like to tell aspiring streamers? What advice would you give them?
I guess it would be, don't let people control how your stream is. You wouldn't let someone walk into your house and break all your stuff and tell you that you're stupid and, like, be mean to you. You wouldn't let someone just walk in your house and do that. Then don't let somebody come into your stream, because your stream is your house. And you have to kind of treat it as such. Like, this is your house. Somebody can't come in and do what they want to do. You kind of have to think of it kind of like that, I feel like. Because a lot of people, I think, want to really hold on to those viewers to the point where they just let them walk over them. Or like the subs too, where like people will give you money and you'll be like, well, if I tell them they can't do this, this, and this, then they won't give me money or they won't watch anymore. My advice is, so what? Like, is that more important to you than you being comfortable in your own house? Because if it isn't and you're uncomfortable, then you need to stop it. And I've seen a lot of new viewers, like new streamers in the Facebook groups, because I'm in like a bunch of Facebook groups. Some of them will be like, I need advice. One of my viewers, he does this, this, and this. Or one of my viewers, he won't stop harassing me. What do I do? And I'm like, block them. Ban them.
Let them go.
Just buy. I mean, you don't need them. And like, yeah, you want viewers, but at the sacrifice of your own.
You want good viewers.
You want good viewers, exactly. And so that's my advice. Don't be like old me, like you new me.
Because you can actually hinder yourself from having such toxic people in there. I mean, if you get rid of the toxic people, then I mean, more people should come. So
yeah. I mean, and a lot of times it's just a nightmare. It's just a bunch of like people fighting within each other, like in text. And I've had that happen where they just like one viewer is fighting with the other one and they're like back and forth. Like, and at first I was like, oh, it's just banter. They're just joking. And then it gets a little too out of hand and you're just like, all right, both of you need to stop, you know? And
yeah. My stream is not the place for this. Like, I was like, get a room, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I need to, like...
somewhere else.
You can do this in DMs. Like, you don't need to do this here, so...
Sounds like a wrestling match in your old school streams. Jeez.
Oh, they were really bad, and a lot of them were also moderators as well. And so when I decided to make the change, because I started having more confidence and realizing, like, you know, I'm needing to do this for me... I just burned by fire. Like, I got rid of my old Discord. I started completely from scratch. I told everyone in the new Discord, like, all the mod titles were gone. I had no mods. I had nothing. And I was like, you can't do these things that you were doing. If you don't like it, you're going to have to leave. And I had all my community to leave. And I started back up from scratch, and that's
but
just
I felt
how
that felt
it
good, though. Like, you're probably like,
oh, it did.
Man,
It really did, and I do miss them because they were, like, really close friends for a long time. But I feel like they were friends because I let them away with whatever they wanted to get away with.
It's kind of like high school friends, though. I mean, eventually you probably grow apart from them because you don't have anything in common anymore.
You do, and like one of them came in today, like during stream, and they were like, "Oh, I miss the old times. Like, you're boring now." And I'm just like, "Oh, well, you don't like it, don't watch it." Like, sorry, you feel that way. I actually really like what I'm doing now, because before I would be on like Discord calls where it's like 10, like we're playing Rainbow Six Siege. I got a full squad and they're all screaming and I'm trying to stream. And I can't talk to anybody because they're talking over me and acting crazy. And like, now I don't even use Discord anymore. Like, I've kind of just like completely navigated away from it because I realized like nobody really wants to hear 5 people scream on a Discord for a stream. Like, even I don't want to watch that. So now it's completely different and I like it. I'm so happy that I kind of like had that person be like, you need to fix yourself. And I did, because they knew that wasn't me, because they knew me personally and like they had talked to me one-on-one. So for them to even take that time was really nice, because I don't think a lot of people, especially back then, I felt like as streaming has gotten more mainstream, like we want to help each other more. But when I first started, like nobody would give their secrets. Like, it was a trade secret. You didn't tell people. Yeah. You didn't tell them like your mic sucked. You didn't talk about that. Like, you didn't tell them that, you know, you're lagging for 15 minutes. Like, no other streamers wanted to give any help back then, I felt like. And now you see all these people wanting to help. And I think it's great because now it's kind of like we don't see each other as competitors. We see each other as like a team, kind of. And I kind of like that mindset a little bit more than the way it used to be. Because, I mean, why, if you have all this stuff that you know, why are you keeping it to yourself? Like, why not just share it?
Right. Absolutely. Because what do you, in the end, you're not really hurting anyone. You're not even hurting yourself. I mean, you're actually helping an individual because just because they get more viewers than you, if you help them out and fix a problem they have, that's not hurting you at all.
Yeah, they can always help you in return in some way. Like, not that they owe you anything, but that they could just, there's things that you could learn from them.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people used to be afraid or like in that mindset where they were like, if I help them or if I do this, then they're going to steal all my viewers. Like all my people are just going to straight up and leave because of this other person. And that's not really the case. Like nobody's going to just straight up leave because you helped somebody else and they like them better. If they're better than you, then yeah, like go for it. Like that's something that you have to kind of go, okay, I need to change now. Like it's not like I don't see people as competition anymore. I feel like that's like such a high school mindset. I just kind of see everybody as like potential friendships along the way. And I'm kind of glad that we got away from that, really. I hated it. I hated feeling like I couldn't talk to people without them thinking, what am I trying to like do, underhanded, sneaky things,
Mm-hmm.
And I was so glad that this year, like TBD asked me to join the team because I hadn't really had a good experience with teams or with like having a group of people, especially after that one group. And I was really hesitant.
Right?
Yeah. And then now we're like a family and I talk to people and I'm also in like another team that Surly has and we're all like a big family. And I just kind of feel like that's how it's supposed to be, like it's not supposed to be how it used to be. And so I'm like, I tell him all the time, I'm like, I'm so thankful that you invited me to join because I was going to say no. And then I didn't because I was like, oh, well, what'll it hurt, And now here I am. And I'm just super thankful.
Guess also what to take away is be open, but not vulnerable, I guess, more or less. Mm-hmm. I mean, because you just, like you just said, you had such a terrible experience with teams in the past. And you gave it another shot, and you're like, what is it going to actually hurt? And you gave it a shot, and now you have a family.
Yeah, and I've actually met them in person. Like, I have gone to Surly's house. I have met Gammo in person. I've met, like, majority of the, like, management and team. Yeah. Because they all live in the same state or close to me.
Oh, wow.
And so I have actually like physically laid eyes and touched these people. And so it's really like surreal to be like, they lived here this whole time and I didn't know. And I wouldn't have known if Twitch didn't exist. Yeah. And then now like we talk almost every single day.
Yeah. It's the power of the internet.
Yes,
yeah. We talk every day. Like I sent Gammo a message today with a meme for his wife. Like, it's just, we're kind of like a really weird family because we're all, super weird individuals. But it's great because when we first met, it was like instant. Like Surly invited me over for his 24-hour that he had. And he was like, oh, other people from the team are going to be there. And I was really anxious because I have so much anxiety. And he was just like, it'll be fine. So I show up and it's just instantaneous. Like you just click with these people and you felt like you've known them like your whole life. And it's really, really just crazy. And like I told you, I forgot the camera was running at the house. Like we're just talking like normal. And he's got his 24-hour going. Like the camera's on, all the lights are on. And I'm just like forgetting that it's there because, the conversation is just good. And so it's really great. And we're planning to like meet again. And they live 20 minutes away. So,
Wow.
Oh, that's convenient. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a fantastic conversation. We'd love to do this and have you on again. But thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. I had fun.
And thank you for listening to this episode of the Rad Gaming Podcast. You can check out our guests by clicking the link in the description.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and rate and subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever else you listen to podcasts.
We release a new episode every Wednesday and Friday. And as always, stay rad, comrades.